Today on the newscast, U.S. soldiers in Iraq targeted yet again by Iran's terror proxies. Are these proxy groups growing bolder? And what does that mean for America, Israel, and the region? Find out next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. I got in a bit late last night from Dallas, but we are back at the Watchman studio, and we've got a lot to talk about today. Look, we are watching the Russia-Ukraine situation very closely, of course, but in the meantime, the world's most pivotal and strategic region, there's a lot going on there right now in the Middle East, because the Middle East, as we know, never sleeps. So let's get into it. You may have missed a very important story, to my mind, that unfolded this morning. At least 3 rockets slammed into Baghdad International Airport. Now, thankfully, no one was injured. A civilian plane was damaged by this rocket onslaught. But a key point here, folks, adjacent to Baghdad International Airport is Camp Victory, where a good number of U.S. soldiers are stationed. So it's pretty clear what the real target of this rocket barrage was. It was Camp Victory and the U.S. personnel which are based there. Now, this follows, obviously, the MO of the Iranian regime's proxy groups operating in Iraq and Syria over the past month. We've reported it here on the Watchman Newscast. Just a slew of attacks, rockets, attack drones, bombarding, or at least attempting to bombard, U.S. personnel really throughout Iraq, in western Iraq, at the embassy in Baghdad, a variety of targets. And again, you see the Iranian regime's fingerprints on this. We saw it intensify earlier this month around the 2nd anniversary of the death of Iranian terror master Qasem Soleimani. The regime has been breathing threats of revenge ever since, and we saw a noticeable uptick in these attacks back in early January. But it has slowed down a bit over the last few weeks, but here we have another volley today. So Iran certainly will not be quiet, and its proxy forces in Iraq are very active, with the ultimate goal of pushing out any last vestige of U.S. presence in the Middle East. Remember, some 2,500 U.S. soldiers in Iraq right now, about 900 next door in Syria. They are there in essentially an advisor role now. The U.S. officials say that the combat role of American forces has ended in Iraq. But if Iran continues with the attacks, could U.S. troops be pulled back into some sort of combat role there, and at least a response against these Iran-backed Shia militias that are operating pretty freely there, it seems? The U.S. military, the brave soldiers serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, they would never cut and run with their tail between their legs, but ultimately it's not their decision. It's a decision of the commander-in-chief in Washington, D.C., and I can't say that I have much confidence that things in Iraq will ultimately unfold in a manner which allows the U.S. to at least depart with dignity, if the Afghanistan model is any indication. Now, when we're talking about the growth and the spread and the increased boldness of those Iranian-backed terror proxies, hey, look no further, by the way, than in 2 incidents we reported on the newscast over the past 2 weeks. These drone and rocket attacks against Abu Dhabi, the capital of the United Arab Emirates. In the lead-in, I said, are they growing more bolder? I think the answer is a definitive yes. Now the UAE is becoming, it seems, a regular target of the Houthi, the Iran-backed Houthi rebels, launching rockets and drones out of Yemen. So what is the state of play right now? I can't think of a better person to speak to than Israeli counterterrorism expert Boaz Ganor. He is the founder and executive director of the International Institute for Counterterrorism, or ICT, in Herzliya, Israel, and he joined me recently to discuss the growing strength and reach of Iran's proxies. Take a look.
Analyzing the situation, I can tell you that the Iranian proxies, and especially Hezbollah is the main Iranian proxy, building an unprecedented military arsenal of rockets and missiles. All of that is Iranian products that have been sent to Hezbollah. We are talking about somewhere between 150 up to 200,000 rockets and missiles. There are very few states in the world, not terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, that has such an arsenal in their hands. And all of those warheads are heading towards Israel. You can add to that dozens of thousands of rockets from the south of Israel in Gaza, aimed to Israel as well, again being sponsored by Iran. You can add to that the Iranian proxies in Syria and Iraq. I'm talking about Shiite militias that also get a lot of sophisticated weapons from Iraq, and even the far distant Yemenite Houthis that has long-range missiles that can reach Israel. And I didn't say anything about the enormous military arsenal of Iran itself. This is posing an unprecedented threat to the safety of Israel, and the Israelis, regardless what is the political orientation of the leaders now or in the future, see it alike, and they understand the level of the danger that we are facing.
Sobering analysis there by Boaz Ganor. He talked in particular about that Iran proxy threat to Israel. Yesterday, another great terrorism expert, Jonathan Spyer, joined us from Israel's Golan Heights. You can check it out here in our archives. And he laid out how Iran is a major threat to the United States, the nation it refers to as the Great Satan. So both Israel and the United States are in the Iranian regime and in the regime's proxies' crosshairs. The good news is God Almighty still sits on the throne, and Israel also has a bit of help in the form of its groundbreaking Iron Dome missile defense system. Before we go today, I want to tell you about a great company we're partnering with here at the Newscast that can help to act as an Iron Dome for your family online. Canopy is cutting-edge Israeli technology, software specifically developed to enable families to enjoy the good of the internet without the bad, and we all know there's plenty of that out there today. Canopy is an incredible internet filter. It detects and blocks explicit content on your kids' devices in real time. And it's really the only tool out there that I know of that can deter and prevent sexting. Folks, as the father of a teenager and a preteen, I know how challenging it is to raise kids in this digital age and with social media all around us. That's why I'm partnering with Canopy. It's Israeli innovation at work, and I know it will bless your family. Just visit canopy.us/Watchman and use the discount code Watchman15 to get a free 30-day trial and 15% off the price of your Canopy subscription. You can cover all of the devices in your home for as little as $8 a month. $8. It's a great deal, and your kids are worth it. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Watchman Newscast. Until next time, God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.